Let's do a bit of a deep dive on tax basketing. Hi, this is financial planner Sean Mullaney. Let's discuss. So, tax basketing, sometimes called asset location, is all about where do we hold assets among the different flavors of accounts: traditional retirement accounts, Roth retirement accounts, taxable accounts. We could also think about health savings accounts as well. And sometimes we can achieve some tax efficiencies by basketing our assets in certain positions so that we're more tax efficient. And one thing that has started to occur is there's now a difference in yields when we think about international stocks versus US stocks. And it's grown over time, particularly in the year 2024. So what do I mean by that? Let's look at VTSAX, right? I'm not giving anyone investment advice for any particular purpose here, but I just want to illustrate some tax basketing concepts. VTSAX, a index of US equities. Its yield right now, and I'm recording this in late November 2024, is 1.32%. So very roughly speaking, if you owned in a taxable brokerage account, VTSAX, $1 million of it, you're going to get taxable dividends of something like $13,200, right? Not very much at all considering the size of the holding, which means it's pretty tax efficient on at least this year's tax return. That's a nice thing. And oh, by the way, most of those dividends, over 90% of them are almost certainly going to be qualified dividends, so they qualify for favorable rates. So that's very effective. Well, let's compare and contrast that to international equities, right? And let's go to VTIAX on Yahoo. It's reporting now, Yahoo's reporting that VTIAX has a dividend yield of 2.92%. Whoa, that's getting close to 3%. That, to my knowledge, has gone up a little bit in recent times. And it's more than double the dividend yield of VTSAX. So that's very interesting to me from a tax basketing or asset location perspective. One might say, if I've got taxable accounts, if I've got Roth accounts, and I got traditional accounts, and I want to have some domestic equities and I want to have some international equities, it might be advantageous to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have all my taxable accounts be domestic equities, get that 1.32% yield, something like it, and less income goes on my tax return. And then international, maybe I want to hold some of that. Maybe I'll put it in my tax deferred, or maybe I'll put it in my Roth accounts. Now, two quick notes on doing that. One, if you put international equities in a Roth account or a traditional account, you lose, they call it a foreign tax credit. Now, I think in many cases that may still be the better play because it reduces the income hitting the tax return. And the tax credit, the foreign tax credit, tends to be a modest number. Think about U.S. Japan, right? The withholding tax is only 10%. So it's something, but it's not a ton of money. Other countries may have a 0% rate or a 5% rate. So that foreign tax credit's a nice thing to have. But, the difference in yield between U.S. and international now might be such that that's not enough of a consideration to favor having international in taxable accounts, right? Second thing to think about would be growth, right? In theory, yes, the dividend yield on something like a internet or U.S. equity might be 1.32%, might be closer to 3% on international. But if growth is going to be through the moon on U.S. and it's going to be moderate on international, and that's speculative, you got to do your own analysis. I'm just saying it's a theoretically possible outcome. Maybe you want the U.S. in the Roth and you want the international in the taxable because you say, well, I don't like having a 3% dividend potentially on my U.S. tax return, but I'd rather that than having this huge cap gain that the domestic equities create on my would create on my tax return. So I'll park those in my Roth. So I'm just giving you some considerations here. But I think dividend yield very much matters when we're thinking about tax location. And international equities are becoming less and less attractive inside a taxable account, even though a lot of those dividends, by the way, qualify for the qualified dividend rate. As the yield spread between domestic and international increases and international is more than double the yield, it might be worth it to think about tax basketing and having international in retirement accounts and HSAs and domestic in taxable accounts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please mash that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.